Well, first let's start with both Mookie and Freddie back in the lineup. So starting with Freddie, just when it comes to that rip, obviously for him to be back out there, he's feeling so much better. But is it something that you're going to have to keep watching moving forward?
He is back in there tonight. He'll take a couple at bats. The last couple of days, he feels really good. Doesn't feel anything. And so, yeah, but I do think that it's something we got to make sure we monitor. But he wouldn't be out there if we didn't feel confident that he's on his way back.
Do you know what tweaked this in Japan?
I don't. I know it was the last round of his batting practice for that first game. The thought was it might be some scar tissue that was in there that just sort of broke up. And so just to kind of be cautious, we just felt that we should abort, which was a smart decision, I think.
And then with Mookie, at what point did you realize he really just kind of turned the corner and was feeling just so much better, holding on to just liquids, putting weight back on, things like that?
I think we're still getting there.
Okay.
He still hasn't regained the weight that he lost. I think we just feel that he's recovering much better than he did, feels stronger than he did, and today he's only going to take 2 at-bats. He'll play 3 or 4 innings of defense, so we just feel that it's a build-up and won't kind of set him back at all.
Have you settled on a starter for the home opener and for the Tigers series? We
have. It's going to be Blake Snell. And it's great in the sense of Yamamoto starting the opener in Tokyo, but then Blake getting the opportunity to start the home opener here at Dodger Stadium, and then we'll follow it with Yamamoto and then Roki for the last game of the Tiger series.
That's a pretty good old school pitching matchup between 2 Cy Young winners with Skubal and Blake.
It really is. I think that if you if you look at Major League Baseball starting pitching in anyone's math or opinion, those 2 are 2 of the top 5 pitchers in all of baseball. And so to have them kind of 2 southpaws going against one another is going to be fun.
What was his reaction when you let him know that he was going to be that guy?
I think he was certainly honored, excited. Blake chose to be a Dodger for various reasons, and for him to start home opener here at Dodger Stadium, I think it's just something else that he can add to his already great career.
What's the outlook for Evan Phillips?
Evan threw yesterday in a live session and looked really sharp, and so the thought is he will either throw tomorrow or the next day another inning. And he'll be here for the ring ceremony, obviously, and then he'll make his way to Arizona.
How about Kopech? Since you got back, any updates on him?
No, not really. I think Kopech is sort of in a holding pattern. Don't really know what that means. It's not a setback. It's just kind of where he's at, the build-up. He's just kind of been pretty stagnant, I think. Don't know, what his time of return is.
Gave Glasnow pushed back to that second series. Is that just to keep the workload kind of sane on him and what he went through last year?
I think that was more of driven by he's going to pitch in this freeway series. I think that's more driven by with Yamamoto and Roki just trying to keep them somewhat on some type of schedule where to introduce Tyler into the 25 season, we could do pushing him back. Just made the most sense to keep those other 2 guys, more online.
Do you have any particular expectations about either the Angels or the upcoming series?
Expectations for our guys, not really. I think that it's still an exhibition, but then we're on the heels of getting ready for the home opener. Already played 2 regular season games. We've already done this deal last year. Just make sure guys stay sharp.
What do you think about the changes in there, especially when you think about where they came from when you were a player and what it looked like in there before?
this clubhouse has come a long way, certainly since 23 years ago when I played here. It's just they just did it right. Ownership, Stan and his staff and everyone, the vision, Jan Marie Smith, and you're also looking at 8 months of a project that essentially should have taken 2 years. So under the hood, you guys have seen it, the clubhouse, the other stuff, it just all makes sense. It's cavernous, it's functional, and it's just first class. Everything is first class.
How about the manager's office?
It was certainly, there was an upgrade to with the manager's office, which was great.
Now that the Tokyo series is over, what's the schedule going to look like for Shohei in terms of pitching?
Well, he's been throwing, obviously, as far as playing catch, recovering really well. We're trying to figure out when his next bullpen is going to be. I don't have the exact date right now, which I'll dig into, but it should be in the coming days. And so I think that once we get him back throwing pens, then I think it'll be more of a clear kind of outline of what's to come next. Once we get that first bullpen date scheduled.
How's your deadline?
You know what? I think, yes, the last couple of days have been kind of, foggy, but today is a lot more clarity. And I think the guys feel the same way, which is good because we have 2 exhibition games. I think we're all pretty much back to being here local time, and bodies are moving well, and we'll be ready for the Tigers.
Are you happy that you don't need to wait for the translation?
Oh, yeah. Will Ireton cannot do 10 jobs. He can just do like 5 or 6.
How's Tony Gonsolin doing? And just with kind of the holdup with Michael, how valuable could he be, especially with stepping into the bullpen?
Tony is doing well. He'll be back here for the ring ceremony. I think he's got a bullpen. What's today? Sunday. I think he's got a bullpen, tomorrow. Bullpen or an inning. So he's progressing. I'll just say that he's progressing nicely, building him back up. And I think it's actually the hitters as I recall. So he's building up innings. I don't know when he's going to be back, but I do know everything I've heard about Tony has been really good. Who's the second person you asked about?
Oh, I was just saying, with the holdup on Michael Kopech, how valuable could it be to get Tony built back up as just an option on the bullpen?
Yeah. Tony's getting built up, and then I do think that they're separate in the sense of we still see Tony as length and a potential starter. So if we can build him up, there's a potential drop in for Tony at some point.
Is Freddie on the same plan as Mookie tonight? 2 at bats, 3 to 4 innings, or more?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Will they both be ready for the home opener?
Yes.
Dave, can you recall a season where you've been able to kind of maneuver the roster like this at the beginning of the season and kind of take your time with this many guys?
Have I what?
Had a season where you can recall being able to maneuver the roster or take your time with a lot of guys?
We've had a lot of great rosters, but this is the most talented roster, and I keep saying that. It seems like every year that we've had, and so to see that you lose your 2 of your best players 48 hours before opening day and still kind of move forward is pretty remarkable, and to kind of keep guys sharp, relevant, to make sure I get those guys that are on the bench current, keep them relevant. It's probably the most flexibility that we've had.
Dave, with Kopech, was the shoulder something new in spring training, or is that the way he dealt with last year?
I dealt with what he did last year. Last year, just kind of going through the grind of intensity, and then just the off season. He got sick in the off season, and where that cut back his ramp up. And so that really set him back, quite honestly, a few weeks in itself. So those kind of both those things.
Glasnow and May the next 2 nights here? I mean, or Anaheim, I guess. For you guys.
Yes.
Dave, did you have any thoughts on the situation with Jackie Robinson's page being removed from the DoD website?
You know what? I didn't dig into it. So I don't. What I do know is, and I don't know anything about that. What I do know is he served our country, and was. I was there. I went to the base, but I don't know enough about it. I should study up on it.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.